We also have a large, well-equipped child care center. Besides being the finest, we are one of the least expensive, priced below clubs offering less. There is no better or even comparable value in Des Moines. Come in to see for yourself and compare.
Making Ends Meet on TV8, Iowa's news leader.
Welcome to CBS This Morning. I'm Harry Smith.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Paula Zahn.
Much to do this morning. The controversy continues to rage over the safety of silicone breast implants and how the government has handled the issue. In just a couple of minutes, we're going to hear from Dow Corning, the company that makes them.
Then if you think getting older means losing your looks, think again. We're going to show you how to look your best at any age. And then coming up a little bit later on in this hour, some insights about men, women, and herself from Gloria Steinem.
Time now for this morning's news. The Space Shuttle Discovery stands fueled and almost ready to blast off on a 7-day science mission. But there is concern now that the weather may not cooperate. Erin Hayes is at the Kennedy Space Center with more. Good morning, Erin.
Morning, Harry. Yeah, things have changed in the last hour. Mother Nature appears to be intervening, much to the chagrin of NASA. The weather looks fine, but apparently concern about static electrical charge in the air is sufficient right now to have NASA seriously considering delaying the launch maybe an hour or so. The astronauts are on board the orbiter, waiting for word, hoping they'll start their mission today.
And here they come, our 7-member launch team.
The 5 American astronauts are joined by astronauts from Canada and Germany on a mission with a heavy international emphasis. Discovery is carrying the Space Lab module, in which astronauts will be conducting dozens of experiments from many different countries.
The primary payload consists of 42 scientific investigations, 29 of which have non-U.S. principal investigators.
The experiments are designed to provide information about the effects of the weightlessness of space on man and materials, information NASA hopes to use in developing a manned space station in the future. At the Kennedy Space Center right now, the 35 sensors that measure electrical charge in the air are reading over the limit, and that raises concerns of creating lightning on launch. NASA's not sure if it's a false reading or a real threat, but it is not a risk NASA wants to take. There is some hope conditions might improve in the next hour, and a great deal more hope conditions will improve enough to launch sometime today. But right now, an on-time launch here does not appear likely. Harry?
All right, Erin Hayes in Florida this morning. Thank you so much. The two sides in the nation's abortion controversy agree on one thing this morning. The Supreme Court seems poised to change the rules which have governed abortion since 1973. Mark Phillips is in Washington now. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Harry. Well, indeed, the Supreme Court decision to review this controversial Pennsylvania law has raised the temperature on an issue that was already heating up anyway. The Pennsylvania law has the effect of inhibiting access to abortion. If upheld by the court, it's seen by many as another step down the road towards potentially limiting the rights to abortion right across the country.
This was going to be an active week in the abortion battle anyway. Pro and anti-abortion groups have come to Washington in large numbers to demonstrate on the 19th anniversary of the famous Roe v. Wade Supreme Court decision on which the national right to abortion is based. The taking up of the issue by the ever more conservative court is seen as a bad sign by freedom of choice activists.
This is a day that will go down in history, that the court announced that it will hear a case that could literally send women back to the dangers of the back alley.
The anti-abortion pro-lifers who held a prayer meeting last night see things differently. For them, the court's decision to hear the Pennsylvania case is reason to take heart and to continue their campaign in all 50 states to overturn abortion rights laws.
We'll be in a 50-front cultural civil war, and we'll just march on toward our goal of eliminating child killing.
The more radical pro-lifers are using more immediate means to stop abortions. More than 200 of them were arrested here yesterday as they tried to block access to Washington abortion clinics.
And it seems as if we're in for another day of confrontation here. Both the pro and anti-abortion groups have scheduled major marches and rallies here. And of course, it's all been very cleverly arranged so that one group marches directly past another. Harry?
Mark, the Supreme Court has decided to look at this issue. When might a decision come down?
Well, they've decided just now, as you say, to review this issue. They will hear arguments in the spring and could possibly come down with their decision sometime in the early summer, around early July, dumping this issue, of course, right into the middle of a presidential campaign. Harry.
Mark Phillips in Washington this morning. Thank you. A court fight is being promised this morning by opponents of a plan to distribute condoms in the nation's second-largest school district. The Los Angeles Board of Education voted last night to give condoms to high school students whose parents do not object. Bob Jimenez of KCBS TV has the story.
It was a marathon debate over the condom issue, lasting more than 10 hours, and fights nearly broke out between opposing sides. But the board struggled through all the individual bickering, passing a sweeping 9-point AIDS education plan. The debate over the condoms was the most emotional.
I cannot support handing out condoms, especially at the junior high school level. Those are 7th graders, and we are not going to send out that message to our youngsters.
The condom is not the enemy that we have here tonight. The enemy is ignorance and the lack of education.
Weintraub then proposes that condoms be distributed at high schools only, with parental permission.
Some bureaucratic process for the parents to sign off or to sign out, I just think kills the whole intent of this thing, which is to help kids become more safe.
There is no way you could prevent students from being sexually active unless you're going to hold a gun up to them and watch them 24 hours a day, every day.
Thank you.
The board approves a parent opt-out, and despite repeated interruption, passes the condom measure by a vote of 4-3.
Yes. Yes.
Bob Jimenez for CBS News, Los Angeles.
It is time now for an economics lesson of sorts from Charles Osgood this morning. Good morning, Charlie.
Good morning, Harry. Of sorts, indeed. Virtue is its own reward, and it's a good thing, too, because nobody else is going to reward you for it. Several electric utility companies had urged their customers to be more energy conscious and not to waste electricity. And the public responded to these campaigns, cut down on their usage, only to have the utilities file for and win rate increases because their revenues were down because people weren't buying so much electricity anymore. Catch-22. It's only when you have a legal monopoly on something that you can charge more for it when the demand goes down. Well, now it has happened again. In California, the drought may be finally coming to an end. They've had several heavy rainstorms recently. But at the height of the drought, the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power put in water use restrictions, mandated a 15% cut in water usage, and people were asked, please, to conserve water. And the people were very good about it. They reduced water consumption by 30%. They took fewer showers, they turned off their lawn sprinklers, and so on. And so, the department put in for an 11% rate hike to make up for the loss in revenue. Seems to me that's like someone who's murdered his mother and father asking the court for mercy on the grounds that he's an orphan. Well, the city council would not grant the 11% hike, but yesterday they did grant a 3.6% increase. As Claire Booth-Luce once said, no good deed goes unpunished.
Thanks very much, Charlie. It is 8 minutes past the hour. Time to check in with Mark McEwen this morning. Are you still? We're still talking about this marriage.
No,
business, right?
no. Let's not talk about it.
We're going to leave that alone for
We're going to leave it alone for a while.
One segment.
Yeah, for until it happens.
Although I've already ordered the gravy boat. I just wanted to let you know.
Yeah. I've had gravy aircraft carriers that are coming in as well as gravy boats. Let's talk about the weather behind us. And guess who they blame for the drought and for the rain? Moi. Thank you very much. No matter what happens, we have some icy conditions that we want to talk about. You're going to see wet conditions to the south. Southern Illinois and southern Indiana. When you get to northern Illinois and northern Indiana, you'll see pockets of sleet mixing in with your rain, pockets of freezing rain. When you get a little bit further to the north, that's where you will see later on today a lot of freezing rain. Portions of Wisconsin, also Michigan up into the UP Upper Peninsula, and what I call Wishigan earlier today. So again, to the south of that Illinois-Wisconsin border and to the south of the Michigan-Indiana border, pockets of freezing rain. You get to the north later on today, you'll be seeing more icy conditions. And to the south of all of that, you'll see that warm air coming up, which is mixing in with that cold air, causing rain from the Gulf Coast all the way up through what we just talked about, the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes area. And what will happen is to the south of that, you'll see just steady rain. Now, to the east of that, not too bad. Temperature is warming up again down through the southeast. They had some snow in that part of the country earlier this week, and that is pretty much gone away. And you'll also see up across New England area a clear day. kind of a cold day, but it could be colder. Could always be colder, right? Center part of the country, Midland, will see a high of 53. You'll see just a little smattering of snow up across North Dakota and northern Minnesota, where they're having the Super Bowl this Sunday on CBS. Thank you very much. Down through the southwest, you'll see some warm temperatures. Fog conditions, truly fog through the central valleys of California. Up across the northwest, watch out for some rain. Real quickly, let's take a look at the overnight lows and what you're going to see. This bears some watching in the northeast because the icy conditions that you're seeing around the Great Lakes today will be heading towards east tomorrow. We tend to think that with the cloud cover, it's going to stay a little bit warmer than which would cause some problems. If it were cooler, cause a lot more problems. So we'll keep an eye on that. The coldest place in the country will be up across northern New England and right around the Great Basin. Temperatures tonight, without a wind chill, 0 to 10 degrees. That is a quick look at the national forecast. Let's take a look at your weather.
Well, a bit on the cool side today, at least compared to what we had yesterday, the record high of 58. We'll see 40s across the region today, low 40s mainly in the south, with some scattered light precipitation, mainly in the form of light rain. Could turn over to a little bit of late snow by this evening. In Des Moines today, high temperature near 44.
That's it, the weather, gravy boat talk. Harry?
All right, thanks very much, Mark. The Food and Drug Administration has already asked for a moratorium on silicone breast implants. Now, the FDA is asking Dow Corning, the major manufacturer of those implants, for permission to go public with dozens of documents related to their safety. And joining us this morning from WREG-TV in Memphis is Robert Rylee, chairman of Dow Corning's healthcare businesses. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Harry.
Are you going to release the documents the FDA wants you to release?
Definitely. What we are doing, there were 10 of those documents that relate to safety studies. Of those 10, 5 are already in the public domain. They had been filed with our PMA last July and were part of the 10,000 pages of biosafety studies that we put in the public domain last July. One of those studies was already published back in 1973 in a periodical. There are 4 that had not been previously put in the public domain, but were made available to FDA. These were not filed with our PMA because they weren't relevant to the breast implant.
There's some 90
we will make studies. Those we'll go ahead and make public, and we'll do that immediately.
Right. But there's some 90 documents or so, well, all told. What about the rest of them?
Right. As I said, 10 of those were biosafety type studies. They'll all be in the public domain. Most are. The other 80 are internal memos, our correspondence. We have a number of people who are digging back in our archives to find exactly what those letters or memos were, what action or closure was taken on those. We'll be putting that together and we'll file that with the FDA, and then obviously once we do that, we'll also make them public.
So so all those other documents will ultimately be forthcoming?
Yes, you understand that the internal memos and the correspondence were not filed with the PMA because they're not scientific. And typically what you file with the Food and Drug Administration is all of your biosafety studies. You don't file normal routine correspondence. The commissioners ask for that. We'll dig it out, research it, present it to him, show him exactly what it was and what it means.
What is going on right now in your front offices? Because there's a whole shadow of doubt that has been cast over the operation of your business, and folks are saying that Dow Corning placed profits in front of safety with regard to these breast implants.
Obviously, there's a tremendous amount of concern on our part because of what we think has been a gross mischaracterization of the situation. There's been too much in the way of speculation, too much media hype, focus on minor details that are not scientifically valid. What we're begging the Food and Drug Administration and the media to do is let's bring this back into a strong focus on science, because that's the issue. We have a tremendous amount of science. We've said publicly we have over 12,000 studies on health and environmental safety of our various materials. 900 of those relate to our medical materials. 327 of those were specific to the gel-filled breast implant. That's where the focus should be. We have filed that with the Food and Drug Administration. We also made all of that public. We donated it to the public domain, an unprecedented action for a business corporation to take its valuable intellectual property and donate it to the public domain. We're absolutely chagrined that people are questioning our ethics, what we have done, because we have done everything that is known to the state of the art to demonstrate the safety and the efficacy of these materials as they're known today.
What should the FDA have done in this case? They asked for a moratorium. What would you have preferred if they, in fact, had doubts and wanted to ask you about these doubts?
If they had doubts, what they should have done is come to us and said, look, here are the issues that we see. These are the doubts that we have. Please provide us with an understanding or an explanation of that data. I think the call for a moratorium was absolutely an unwarranted action. I think it created more fear, concern, alarm, and doubt among the most important of all the people involved, and that's the patients.
At the same time, we have talked to a number of people here over the last several weeks who have had serious health problems as a result of these implants. Are their problems unfounded? They're certainly not making this stuff up.
Oh, absolutely not. There's no question there are women who have some very serious health problems. The question is, did the implant cause the problem, or is that a pre-existing condition and there's a concurrent finding or a coincidental finding? Excuse me. So far, there has not been one single scientific study that shows a cause-effect relationship. There has been some speculation, but even the FDA has admitted publicly there's not one bit of scientific data that would show the cause-effect relationship. Now, that doesn't 100% guarantee that there isn't one. That's why they say there should be more studies. And we agree with that. The issue is a very complicated biomedical safety issue. We think we have adequate data on that, but obviously everyone would like to have more. And the same thing will be true 50 years from now with any alloplastic material or any major surgical procedure.
Robert Rylee, we thank you for coming on this morning. Do appreciate it.
Thank you, Harry.
16 after the hour. We'll be back.
Everyone wants to know they got the right car at the right price. Before you buy your next car or truck, ask yourself these 3 questions. Do I like it? Does it fit my needs? Can I afford the payments? This month at Jerry Covington's, the Cavalier. You like it? Does it fit your needs? It's affordable, just $89.95 or $199 per month. And remember, unless this emblem is on your car, you probably paid too much. Hurry into Jerry Covington Chevrolet Geo in Indianola.
I've been waiting for this.
Crab legs are back.
Yes.
At the Choice Smorgasbord.
When?
Evenings Monday through Thursday.
Let's go.
Enjoy up to a pound of crab legs with any adult dinner at no extra charge. It's live with Regis and Kathy Lee.
Too bad for you.
What a lucky guy I am to sit between 2 of the most beautiful women in the world.
The show everyone's talking about.
I've been a secret watcher of your show for many years, Regis.
Kidding, Bill.
I'm coming out today.
The hosts everyone's talking about.
You guys are such an amazing smash hit.
So get in on the fun.
This kid's trying to make me look bad.
With Regis and Kathy Lee.
That's funny.
Start your mornings with Regis and Kathy Lee. Weekday mornings at 9 here on TV8.
And now for Final Jeopardy. This heaviest animal also makes the loudest sound.
Okay. Pitbull. No. Nah. Tyrannosaurus. What? Gorilla? It's dinosaur. That's it. Sure. No. Okay. What is a blue whale?
What is a whale?
Could you be a little more specific on that?
Blue.
Jeopardy. It's as much fun as you think.
Jeopardy. Now 6 days a week here on TV8.
To compete, you've got to be strong. To win, you've got to be smart. Maybe you can be one of us. The few, the proud, the Marines.
It's 18 minutes after the hour right now. Just because a woman has reached a certain age doesn't mean she has to stop looking great. Sometimes that means changing her style to make the most of your looks. And we have some help for you this morning from Jinger Heath. She's a beauty expert and the owner of Beauty Control, a cosmetics and image consulting company. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So how different are the beauty problems of older women versus younger women?
Well, basically, they're different because we lose color. So as we get older, we begin to lose color in our face, our lips, our hair.
And so we need to change the colors and make sure we're wearing the right colors.
So how do you make the most of graying hair and the changing skin color?
Well, you don't have to necessarily cover gray hair, especially if it's silver, you know, because it's beautiful. You just need to make sure you're using products that make it shine and not look yellow. In addition to, make sure you have an updated hairstyle. So it's okay to have gray hair, just make sure it's a new updated style.
We have a special guest with us this morning that will show us how some very simple changes can make a big difference.
Yes.
You brought along a woman named Ruth,
yes,
who you worked with yesterday.
Yes. And Ruth is a wonderful model who basically needed more color. She needed more pizzazz. Her gray hair is beautiful, but it just needed a new updated hairstyle. Her glasses are old-fashioned. She needs new updated glasses to make her look younger and newer and more vibrant. And in general, she wore a black pantsuit that just needed some pizzazz also, maybe a brighter blouse, and tailor the jacket to make her fit her figure better. The same black pantsuit was great, but it needs a belt or, again, color somewhere added to bring more color to Ruth.
The new Ruth, voila!
That's right. And the red suit, of course, just livens up her whole personality. She looks vibrant and alive. The mixed blouse, of course, a color by her face. She could wear this same jacket with the black pants or the skirt again with the black jacket that she had on previously, again for pizzazz. We updated her glasses and gave her new glasses. We did not cut her hair. We simply teased the hair and added spray at the roots for some volume and added color to her face. She has beautiful skin. We just put a little foundation on, a little eye color to really just excite her blue eyes. Cheek color up high, always. Women start avoiding the eye area when they get fine lines.
Right.
They need to put the cheek color up high, and we added bright lipstick to Ruth.
So I guess the question I want to ask Ruth this morning, first of all, you look terrific.
Thank you.
How long did the transformation take?
About 30 minutes.
That's all?
That's all.
Head to toe?
Right.
So the little tips you picked up on are things you can do at home with no problem?
Do your hair and the makeup right.
What do you think of the way you look?
Fabulous.
You feel younger?
Yes, definitely. Younger? About 10 years younger.
I'm curious what you think some of the biggest mistakes are that women make.
Well, I think the biggest mistakes is they shy away from color, thinking that they can't wear color, and actually they need a little more color than they did when they were 30. So that pale pink lipstick when you're 30 doesn't work when you're 60. Also, earrings have no age. So it's real important to bring brightness and light around the face, and do add an earring at least the size of a quarter. So on Ruth, of course, we put the silver earrings and her beautiful silver hair with the red suit, and it brings sparkle and everything up to the face to look younger and happier and vibrant.
Is that a look you would have resisted before?
Probably.
So you feel emboldened to
yes,
go home
think
and...
since I saw the results of it, it's amazing what it's done for me.
But I guess we only have 20 seconds left. A lot of women hear about these makeovers and they think, good Lord, you can't learn that stuff and go home and do the same thing. But once again,
you can. The key is an updated hairstyle, not old-fashioned glasses, and the gray hair is great, but do add the color, because when color fades, you need to add a little back in.
Ginger, Ruth, nice to see both of you.
Thank you.
We're going to be back 22 minutes past the hour. Gloria Steinem coming up.
Your Toyota dealer would like to offer a simple suggestion. Why not buy? The new Toyota Camry is bigger, more powerful, has an unbelievable ride, and with an airbag standard on every model is much safer, so why not buy? The Detroit Free Press said the Camry is simply the best car built in America. Motor Trend said its refined performance and long list of standard features make Camry the best value in its class. So why not buy? See your Toyota dealer today. It's the right choice right now.
Direct from Broadway and the heart of rock and roll comes Buddy, the Buddy Holly story, the sensational hit musical that's raising the roof in London, Australia, and now in theaters across America. The star that had them cheering, the songs that had them bopping, the story that went down in history. Come down for the wildest night out since 1959.
KCCI TV 8 and KIWA Radio welcome Buddy to the Civic Center February 4th through 6th. Call and charge your tickets today.
Where's the fire extinguisher?
The annual TV8 Tones Chili Cook-Off returns with more fire than ever. Let area chefs spark your taste buds with free samples of some of the finest chili in central Iowa, sponsored by TV8, Tones, and the YMCA. Join Mary Brubaker at Capitol Square Friday, January 31st from 11:45 to 12:30 as local chefs vie for the 3rd annual Chili Cook-Off title. Don't miss your chance to warm up during the hottest event of the season, the TV8 Tones Chili Cook-Off.
No more pink slips!
Well, you know, times are tough right now.
Okay.
We're just trying to make ends meet.
From the grocery line to the picket line, these are challenging times for Iowans. Let TV8 News help you make ends meet in 1992. We'll show you how to stretch your dollar, cope with financial stress, and if you're out of work, we'll help you try to find a job. Making 92 better for you on TV8, Iowa's news leader.
This is the TV8 Morning News, brought to you by Carl Chevrolet Geo. Here's Liz Murdian.
And good morning. Temperatures will cool off into the 40s with rain today, and there's a 30% chance for rain and snow tonight. Currently in Des Moines, light rain and 40 degrees. I'll have the complete forecast in just a moment. Dubuque Senator Joe Welch has resigned as the president of the state Senate. Welch delivered a letter last night to the Senate's majority leader, and in it, he says the intense scrutiny of his role in the Iowa Trust Fund scandal was just too overwhelming. Welch says he will keep his job as senator of Dubuque. The senator's announcement came on the eve of a Senate Ethics Committee probe of his actions, but some Republicans say the probe should continue. Today, Democrats meet and are expected to plan for an election. Leaders say there could be a replacement vote as early as tomorrow. In other Iowa Trust news, the state of Iowa is trying to get its hands on some of the missing millions in Colorado. Attorneys for the Iowa Trust want $45 million frozen in a Colorado bank because the money was put there by Stephen Weimer, who's accused of fraud in the Iowa Trust Fund scandal. However, attorneys for the bank say there's no proof the money in question belongs to Iowa cities and counties. Well, Governor Branstad is putting the finishing touches on his budget proposals he'll outline to lawmakers on Friday. And here's a preview. It includes $37.5 million in new taxes and fines. Also, it includes a budget freeze in much of state government. The governor says he will essentially freeze community college funding and cut state aid to elementary and secondary schools. As for tax increases, he'll ask for a 10-cent per pack increase in the cigarette tax and expand Iowa sales tax to include services that aren't covered now. Iowa Attorney General Bonnie Campbell says Iowa needs a new prison. She says she's ready to lead a statewide debate on whether to build a 600-bed prison. Campbell wants to see the issue on the November general election ballot. She told the Senate Judiciary Committee the state will face more legal threats unless it eases prison overcrowding. Campbell says her office already faces overcrowding lawsuits by inmates. Her proposed referendum would finance the $40 million prison through a property tax levy. She estimates the cost at almost $5 a year for 10 years for each property owner. Well, Iowans have been getting a break at the gas pump these days. The Department of Natural Resources says we paid about 98 cents a gallon for self-serve gasoline in the first part of this month. A DNR analyst says the low prices aren't going to last long. You can expect to pay about $1.10 a gallon by the end of the month. I'll have the forecast in a moment.
Working to be #1.
The styles, the models, the choice. The 92 Chevrolets at Carl Chevrolet Geo. The power, the selection, the right size 1992 Chevy truck for the right job. The fun, the economy, the looks of Geo for 92. The inventory, the price at your dealer for Chevrolet cars and trucks.
Ankeny, exit 90 off I-35. Carl Chevrolet Geo.
Might want to take an umbrella along today. We can already see rain on the radar, light rain scattered over much of central, west central, and south central Iowa, also the east central part of the state. Spreading into the northeastern part of Iowa, most of the rain is south of a line from Orange City to West Bend to Central City. The rain is moving north at 30 miles an hour. For today, rain likely with a high of 43 degrees. Tonight, a 30% chance for rain and snow with a low of 23. For Thursday, partly cloudy, windy and colder with a high of 30. But the extended forecast is looking pretty good for the weekend. Sunny skies with highs inching up into the 40s, lows near 20. Currently in Des Moines, light rain and 40 degrees, winds out of the south at 8. That's my report for this morning. I'm Liz Murdian. Have a good Wednesday.
For up-to-the-minute weather information, day or night, call the TV8 Weather Beacon Forecast at 262-7173. Brought to you as a public service by 95 KGGO, Des Moines' best rock and roll.
Meals today make more use of meat than ever before. That's why Econo Foods offers you the widest variety of fresh-cut meats. From traditional favorites to all the dishes meat makes complete. EconoFood saves you money by offering the best selection of meat that's packaged for economy and versatility. No matter what your tastes are, EconoFoods has the highest quality meats for less.
Want to escape the winter cold? Relax somewhere warm and tropical? Pick up the phone and call for tickets to Aloha Hawaii at the Ingersoll. This exciting show lets you escape your winter doldrums with authentic Hawaiian music and entertainment. Breathtaking costumes and special effects. And even tropical drinks and a traditional Hawaiian feast. It's the next best thing to being there. Say aloha to your cares and get away from it all. Enjoy an evening of fun and adventure with Aloha Hawaii at the Ingersoll.
In Ottumwa, tune to Channel 23 for better reception of TV8.
Welcome back to CBS This Morning. I'm Harry Smith.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Paula Zahn.
Author and editor Gloria Steinem says that one of the biggest problems women have is how they see themselves. That is one of the topics in her new book on self-esteem, and you're going to be talking with her a little while.
Yeah, she makes some very surprising revelations in the book. I think many of us who have followed her over the years were shocked when we read of what she's been through over the last 10, 15 years in terms of trying to come to terms with her lack of self-esteem.
Because at least outwardly, anywhere, here is this sort of...
Women embracing a major issue, millions of women counting on her, and she said, I'd watch that person on the screen talking on TV, and that wasn't the same person that was talking to me inside.
Interesting.
Fascinating. Gloria Steinem coming up. We're also going to meet a 10-year-old with an idea that could save your child's life. Aaron Gordon has invented a seatbelt harness that could be used in school buses.
All right, we're going to get up to date on this morning's news now. The weather may delay this morning's launch of the Space Shuttle Discovery. 7 astronauts boarded the shuttle right on schedule for a week-long flight. Forecasters have measured levels of electricity in the air over the Kennedy Space Center that are higher than acceptable. That could mean a brief delay, but NASA still hopes for liftoff sometime this morning. President Bush opens an international conference today on ways to help the republics of the former Soviet Union. 47 nations are taking part in the 2-day meeting at the State Department. They will discuss strategies for sending food, medicine, and financial assistance. The United States has already pledged more than $4 billion in aid, mostly in credits for farm purchases. The politics of trade is taking center stage on the campaign trail. Republican hopeful Pat Buchanan is taking aim at protectionism abroad and at President Bush. Eric Engberg has our report.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it. Patrick Buchanan is trying to use President Bush's commitment to free trade as an issue in the increasingly bitter New Hampshire primary. Buchanan declares that the president has been soft on Japan and other trading nations. His message, which the White House calls out-of-date protectionism, is that foreign countries are kicking America around, and it's got to stop. A good illustration of his stance, in a recent meeting with New Hampshire voters, Buchanan told what he would do as president if the Kuwaiti government yields to European salesmen trying to sell the Emir European-made Airbus jetliners.
I would have had the Emir on the phone. Say, listen, little fellow, you don't seem to understand. You know, we sent 500,000 people over there and saved you guys. And you're going to talk to the fellow from McDonnell Douglas and the fellow from Boeing, and then you're going to pick up your new airliner. And if that's not the case, call up the Germans the next time you're in trouble. And I think that's the way you have to deal with some of these things.
The White House has responded to Buchanan's America First message by sending surrogates like Vice President Quayle to make the point that 35,000 jobs in the state rely on foreign trade.
Don't turn back the clock. Don't send us a message that protectionism is good for the country or good for our party. It's not.
The Republican Party has been staunchly free trade, anti-protectionist since Reagan's first term. By trying to convince voters of the need for a more nationalist America First policy, Buchanan is fighting the president for the soul of the GOP. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Washington.
Speaking of soul, one of the Democratic candidates put a little of it into a night off the campaign trail. We're going to look at Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton tooting his own horn at a Washington nightclub last night. No threat to Sonny Rollins. There is no word on any poll on Clinton's musicianship. 26 minutes before the hour. Mark, you want to review that performance?
Garage doors opening up all over Washington. Love you, Bill. Love you, Governor. A couple of birthdays today. Actress Piper Laurie is 60. Actor John Hurt is 52. And author Joseph Wambaugh is 55. We've got weather to get to. I can't play the saxophone. And don't write and tell me that I can't play the saxophone. Let's talk about the weather. Lots of rain in the lovely state of Arkansas, where Governor Clinton is from. It's a beautiful place. And they're going to see some rain today, which makes it lusher and greener. When the rain does end, you'll see rain from the Gulf Coast all the way up into portions of the Great Lakes. Just as you get to northern Indiana, northern Ohio, you'll see it starts shifting over to a little sleet and freezing rain. And once you get up to the north of that, definitely some icy conditions later on in the day, so please be very careful of that. Also see a little snow activity across portions of North Dakota and northern Minnesota. To the east, a sweet day from sea to shining sea, from the Atlantic and the Carib all the way up. You'll see temperatures that aren't too bad. Out to the west, a little fog activity, Tule fog in the middle of California, and you'll see some rain along the shorelines of the northwest and clouds on interior sections. Now for tomorrow, those icy conditions that you see around the Great Lakes are going to be heading off to the east, as you can see, making for icy conditions to, let's say, portions of Pennsylvania, also up across New England. But with warm air coming up from the south, you'll see a lot of that precipitation as being rain along the coastline, which is, I guess, kind of good, as opposed to freezing rain up and down the coastline. You'll see some snow up across the Great Lakes again, and it'll be drying out down through portions of the Gulf Coast and the deep south. So you get out to the west, 30s right around the Great Basin, little rain sort of spreading out up across the northwest, and 70s, with still a chance of fog early in the morning in those central valleys of California again. That's a quick look at the national forecast. Let's take a look at your weather.
Well, a bit on the cool side today, at least compared to what we had yesterday, the record high of 58. We'll see 40s across the region today, low 40s mainly in the south, with some scattered light precipitation, mainly in the form of light rain. Could turn over to a little bit of late snow by this evening. In Des Moines today, high temperature near 44.
And that's the weather. Paula?
Thanks, Mark. For many people, midlife is a time for soul-searching and learning about themselves. And that's what Gloria Steinem does in her new book, Revolution from Within, a book of self-esteem. It describes her search for self-worth and how all of us, women and men, can have a better image of ourselves. And Gloria Steinem joins us this morning. Welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to have you with us. In your book, you talk about the number of years it took for you to wake up your inner self. Why was that part of you so numb, and why did it take so long to discover that inner voice?
Well, when I started this book, I also didn't think, for instance, that it was going to be about me. I mean, I started it because self-esteem is a root issue for women, because there was no link between social revolution and self-realization, those two movements, because even in Eastern Europe, the way kids are raised and the emphasis on self-esteem was, arguably the reason for the democratic upsurge. I mean, all kinds of external reasons. And it was only after I started it that I began to realize we write what we need to learn and we teach what we need to know.
But what did that process trigger in you? What was it that you needed to discover?
Well, I needed to discover that my childhood, which had been neglected, I mean, through no fault of my parents, I was really neglected. I didn't go to school and all, that I had continued.
You were abandoned, your father abandoned you at an early age.
Well, he didn't really abandon, I mean, to survive, he went off to his own work. But that I had been repeating the pattern of my childhood in adulthood. Now, that may sound fairly simple, but I think that I had not realized, that millions of people don't realize, that we continue to treat ourselves the way we were treated in childhood. So I was not taking care of my health. I was burned out all the time. I hadn't made a home for myself, which I think especially single women don't do, because we think we can only do that for husbands and children. I mean, in every possible way, I had come to the kind of burned out end of my ability to learn to lead a certain kind of out of balance life. It wasn't that I wanted to totally change. I mean, I still want to continue doing what I'm doing, but the internal balance just wasn't there. And so, it became a book for me to read.
I guess most people would be shocked when they see in the book how you viewed yourself as almost an entirely different human being, making appearances on television talk shows, and yet the woman sitting there in the chair, yourself, was feeling fat and feeling ugly.
But
and
this is very common for women especially. It's not that men don't have the problem, but women have it to a much greater degree. Women who are medically underweight think that they're overweight. Little girls...
Gloria, unfortunately, I have to interrupt you right now. President Bush is getting ready to handle a news conference right now. I've got to turn it over to Harry.
Interrupting us again.
Yes, he is. President Bush, upstage by the president. We're going to have to continue our conversation a little
All right, thanks. President Bush expected to name a new transportation secretary today. Answer a couple of questions. Let's go to the White House.
And for serving the nation's transportation interest. He's a friend of many years, who started his career as a legislator in the Massachusetts House of Representatives. I have valued that experience often in the last 3 years here in Washington. As Deputy Chief of Staff, he has offered wise and loyal counsel on legislation, on management of federal programs, and on intergovernmental relations. Scores of people from all walks of life know him as the White House manager who will listen to their concerns and get things done. That's true here. That's true on Capitol Hill. And I also want to express my appreciation once again to Sam Skinner for his expert and dedicated stewardship over at that department, culminating in the landmark Transportation Act. He was known over there for his foresight and innovation, and he's brought that same energy, distinctive energy, to the White House. Our nation's transportation system faces many important challenges in the years ahead, and a vast new highway system is taking shape under the Surface Transportation Act that was just signed into law. Whether it be in aviation, railroads, mass transit, shipping, or the Coast Guard, I know that Andy Card's leadership will be an important ingredient in providing the most effective transportation system possible. I look forward to having him in this important position on the administration team. Look forward to having him as a valued counselor and member of the President's cabinet. He will do a first-rate job at transportation, just as his predecessor did. Thank you very much. Andy, do you want equal time here?
I'm honored and quite privileged to be part of the President's team, and I'm flattered that he would choose me to be part of his cabinet. I look forward to working with the other members of the cabinet, with the rest of the Bush administration, and I want to carry on the fine tradition that Secretary Skinner brought to the Department of Transportation. And, Mr. President, I'm proud to be part of your team. Thank you.
We're scooting over the State Department for an event, but maybe I should take a question or two. I know you're all interested in this appointment.
Mr. President, are you going to go for a middle-income tax cut, and are you going to cut the Pentagon budget by $50 billion, and are you going to break the budget agreement?
Helen, you have 6 days to wait for answers to all those questions, so I'm not going to now start taking specifics on the State of the Union. I'm confident that what we suggest will be widely received, well received by the American people. I think we're transcending politics, so I'm confident what I propose will have strong support from all elements on the Republican side, strong support there. And I think we're going to have a very good package, but we're going to eschew some of the pure political approaches. We're going to try to do something that will stimulate the economy and avoid these things that may have strong primary political appeal, but would hurt the economy in the long run by shooting interest rates up. So just stay tuned, and I'll give you all the answers to that one.
Can I follow that on a non-specific?
Yes, you can.
You agree with those who say, even from among your own party, that you really don't have a message that you've presented so far?
No, I don't agree with them, but I think the State of the Union will give us a strong opportunity to get it across. Because, well, we're in a political season, Ann, and I point out what we've done in various areas, the benefits of a transportation bill, what we're doing in terms of a brand new education program, and it's pretty hard when you're out there getting hammered by the only way for the opposition to win in the political season is to tear down the president. American people see that. So what I've got to do is get out and above all that by this State of the Union and then following up vigorously, which we will do, yeah.
President, there's concerns from comments from Prime Minister Miyazawa and other industrialists in Tokyo that there may be some backsliding in Japan on agreements they made during your trip. What is your...
I was pleased with the correction or the comments coming out of Japan yesterday. I was not pleased with the statements that challenged the ability of American workers. I have full confidence in American workers' competence, their ability. I do think that our products have to be competitive. And there's no question about that. but we've got the best workers in the world. So when I saw a statement challenging that, I was upset. But I was also pleased when I saw a reaffirmation of these goals that were established, and we'll have more to say on that, on a computer agreement that has had strong support, and I've seen very little coverage on that. It's a very good agreement, and the Japanese have every intention of fulfilling that agreement. So, you know, I hope they don't judge American policy by some of the outrageous statements I've seen against them, and I won't judge Japanese policy by some of the outrageous statements I've seen against us. You need a steady hand here. You need to build on the progress we've made. Yeah.
Mr. President, you used much the same words you used this morning, eschewing a political approach, avoiding something that would send interest rates shooting up earlier this or last year, and saying you would oppose a broad general tax cut. Can we construe from your comments today that you will oppose?
You just have to wait and see. But I'll stay with what I've said here in terms of definition of our approach. And I think it'll be well received. And what it will do is to target growth of jobs in this economy. And, you know, you've seen, I saw last year one program, I forget which it was, on the Democratic side, that would just kind of broadly get away with do away with the constraints on spending. People are tired of all this government spending. They want to see the caps on the spending held. That program would have done away with the caps, give everybody a tax cut, and interest rates shot up the very next day. So our proposal will try to avoid that kind of you know, politically popular approach, but we'll focus on those things that will encourage jobs, investment, savings, whatever. Yeah, Jim.
Mr. President, you talked a few minutes ago about political opponents tearing apart the presidency, but your own
president. To some degree, the president.
But Republican conservatives are tearing apart your economic advisors. They're saying they haven't been bold enough. There are reports that you're considering some kind of staff shakeup. First of all, have the proposals not been bold enough? Are you going to become more bold in that approach? And
well, wait.
Do you have a shakeup in the works?
One, I feel confident that we'll have strong support in our party. There's some one or two out on a real fringe running around up there that might find it difficult to support me for political reasons. I mean, we all know we're in a political season, but I think the broad numbers of Republicans in the House and in the Senate will be supportive when they see what this package is. What was the second part?
Staff shakeup.
Well, anytime you have a new chief of staff, I tell him, hey, take a look at the structure here, see what we can do a better job. We're moving into a very complicated and difficult year, and I have full confidence in the people around us, but whether there be some structural changes that will facilitate one end or another of our responsibilities, let's wait and see.
President Bush this morning in the White House saying he wants Andrew Card to take Sam Skinner's job as Secretary of Transportation. It is about 12 minutes before the hour. We'll be back.
It's tough getting out of bed to face all the chores ahead, till that aroma comes through when the Folger starts to brew.